Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 6th of April. It is Sunday. We do have an 11 game main slate ahead of us, and we do have a lot of weather to take a look at. Not a lot as far as PPDs, rain delays, etc., but a ton of cold weather situations, some wind involved, etc. It'll be an interesting Sunday slate. Uh, Add in that we're probably going to see some different type of lineups because it is a Sunday, and it should be a fun time. At least I hope. We're gonna just jump right in. As always, this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate. I do try to go more in depth for the members at DFS Army. I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, I would cut my pool into about a half. You just do not have to be as creative. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You are able to get your stacks with one of a top tier and upper tier ish pitcher over on FanDuel. With that said, let's take a look at where we're trying to go today. Uh, I'll be honest, it's kind of difficult to narrow things down. Uh, there are a lot of games with totals of 7.5. There are a lot, excuse me, there are a lot of pitchers with strikeout props of 4.5. A handful with 5.5, and even one with 6.5. But we'll kind of get into that. So uh, there's a lot of similarities across the board. How do we find ways to differentiate, or how do we even not even differentiate with on the slate, but how do we eliminate guys? That might not fully come until after we see lineups start dropping, because then we can start picking and choosing based on opposition. Right now we kind of consider things just based on the overall opponent because we aren't exactly sure what lineup is dropping today. But let's take a look just right away at the top. We get Tyler Glasnow. Glasnow taking on a tougher Philadelphia squad, um, who has had some struggles to begin the year. Sasaki actually looked decent, turned around from his rough beginning of the season. Uh, it's going to be really impossible to not play Tyler Glasnow. Let's be honest. Uh, Dominated Atlanta in his first start. Plenty of rest. That start was 7 days ago. 8 Ks, 79 pitches. Should be good to go for 90. They might obviously take it a little easier on him given his track record with injuries, but easily the best K prop on the day at 6.5 with juice on the over. He is a minus 130 favorite. This is one of the games with total with a total of 7.5. Juice is on the under. Priced under 10K today. Uh, Easily going to be one of the top ones in, I guess, everybody's pool, I would think. Corbin Burns definitely in play. Tough opponent against the Yankees to start his season. Gave up 2 home runs, 98 pitches in 4 1/3. Did strike out 8, so the K numbers were there for him. His K prop's at 5.5 with juice on the over. I believe that is the second highest K prop on the slate. I think he and Glasnow are the only ones with 5.5 or higher that are juiced to the over. He is a minus 180 favorite. We did see Washington's offense put up some runs yesterday, but I, I think it's going to be impossible to ignore Burns. I do think I will have some Washington stacks sprinkled in, but Burns is just so strong. Obviously, a number one type pitcher, so no problem with the two guys. Excuse me, two guys on top. Christopher Sanchez. This one intrigues me a bit. We did see Luzardo absolutely dominate this Dodger squad. Uh, so maybe as the season goes on, the Dodgers have some rough games against left-handed pitchers. Uh, Lineup slightly weaker, more strikeouts without Freddie Freeman. Add in that you're playing, more platoon guys against lefties, such as potentially like Chris Taylor, obviously Kike Hernandez. Pa has more, maybe even Miguel Rojas. The lineup gets weaker, obviously against left-handed pitching. Sanchez had a ton of hype during the spring. Velo was up, just looking like he was a guy that was taking another step forward. Strong performance in his opening start. Too bad it was against Colorado, so it kind of negates some of the performance a little bit, just because Colorado's so weak. But K prop at 5.5. Juice is on the under. Just a slight dog though. The Dodgers are minus 130 favorites. Like I mentioned, 7.5 is the game total with juice on the under. So I think Sanchez has to be in play. It's just tough to play him, at 9,100 when Burns and Glasnow are in the same price tier. But I will have him in my pool. Uh, just kind of hoping people aren't going to go there. Jackson Job kind of let me down in his opening start. Couple home runs in Seattle. Kind of rough. It's more of a control thing. 4 walks. Did only allow 3 hits. I was a little shocked that the strikeouts were down at 3. His K prop today is 4.5, which is on the over. He is the largest favorite on the slate at minus 225. And of the limited win odds, for whatever reason, DraftKings doesn't have many of them posted. Jackson Job is the favorite out of all the pitchers they do have posted at plus 165 to pick up the W. Definitely somebody I want in my pool. Obviously, we're going to pick on the White Sox. I don't believe that their offense is as good as it's shown to start the season. Not that it's been great by any means, but we're just going to pick on the White Sox a ton. So I'll gladly do it with Jackson Job. Blanco, somebody that I will consider a little bit. I actually didn't write down any of his props because I'm not sure that I want to go there, but the Twins can strike out a little bit. The Twins' offense has been kind of weak to begin the season. K prop of 5.5. Juice is on the over for him, so that's kind of a big thing for us. He's plus 185 to get the W, so he's somebody I'm certainly considering, uh, but I just might not get there. It's kind of tough. Weather in Minnesota, blowing out to center. It's going to be something that's not exciting, but it's cold. It's in the 50s. But then again, we do have a lot of games in this scenario. So we're trying to look for reasons to not play some guys and then reasons to play. Blanco's kind of on the outside looking in, I would say, based on my initial run through. But he's somebody that could find his way back into my pool. There's no doubt about it. Drew Rasmussen, definitely somebody I'm considering. Win odds of plus 210. K prop of 4.5. Game total just 8 in this one. Looked pretty solid against Pittsburgh in his first start. Did only throw 70 pitches, but did manage to get through 5. Uh, does not have an outs prop right now. I would guess he's probably still a 5 inning guy again, maybe 6 if we're lucky, but I just don't expect Tampa Bay to extend him much early in the season based on his injury history. He's somebody I'm considering, even though I don't exactly love using pitching against Texas. Uh, this Miami Atlanta game, I'm just super worried about the weather. We're going to need to find out some timing of everything. Decent PPD risk, pretty strong delay risk. So we have to find out the timing of that delay because we can take advantage of it. If it's going to be something we expect to hit in the 6th, 7th inning, well, then our starting pitchers are in great spots. But If it's earlier, then we're in trouble. Alcantara going to have some strong starts, going to have some questionable starts. That's just what happens in returns from Tommy John. Start number 3 on the season, giving up 2 runs in each. Only threw 70 pitches last time after 91 pitches the first time. I think they kind of gave him a hard stop at 5 innings. That kind of makes me wonder if maybe they're going to do that for the first handful of starts. There were rumors that he wasn't going to be limited at all this season. Uh, and he's most likely traded at some point as well. So Miami doesn't really have incentive to run about their 7 innings per. Prior to his Tommy John, he was like leading baseball in complete games the last couple of years prior to that, or approximately. So uh, he and Holmes are guys that I was interested in, but we really need to know weather timing. Holmes for sure, just because he's a pretty strong favorite, minus 155 in this game. So going down the list a little bit, this matchup here, Peterson and Francis, it's two offenses that I think are probably better than they are to begin the season. Um, Peterson was leading it, but it was Miami. Um, he's a minus 148 favorite. K prop's just 3.5 with juice on the over. Francis is 4.5 juices on the under. These are two guys that I think are going to end up in my pool, but I'm not super excited about it. They're probably more like the last couple guys in, just because they do have upside, but I think both offenses have what it takes to score some runs as well. A couple more names that I am considering, kind of skipping over. I don't really think Bubic and Povich are going to keep up their strong games. Not really on Kumar Rocker. No thank you to Chris Paddock, pretty much ever at this point. Ben Brown, I am intrigued a little bit just because of the weather in Wrigley. Generally, we just play pitching when it's cold and wind's blowing in. We get both of those here. Problem, obviously, San Diego's in a huge K squad. Ben Brown is talented for sure, but it's kind of tough. He is plus 185 to get the W. K prop is 4.5 juices on the over, so there are some things pointing towards him in this scenario. I'm just not sure I'm going to get there. On the other side, Kyle Hart struck out 4 against Cleveland in his debut, 2 solo home runs. He actually looked pretty solid at 80 pitches. Should see a bump into the 90s. I do have some interest here. I do want to see what some of the Cubs do against left-handed pitching, because in my mind they are a strong opponent against left-handed pitchers. So he may not make it. K prop at 3.5 juices on the over. Game total 7.5 juices on the under. He is just a light dog. The Cubs are minus 135 favorites. And the other name that I'm definitely considering down here, actually two, but um, Chad Patrick against the Reds. Obviously, they can struggle. They didn't struggle yesterday. He looked pretty good in his first start against Kansas City. I do think there's some upside with him. He is a minus 148 favorite, plus 200 to pick up the W. Will Warren, strong spring, a lot of hype, pretty strong debut against a tough Arizona squad aside from the walk issues. I think he's in play against Pittsburgh. Obviously, we have some potential weather, I believe, in Pittsburgh, so we do have to pay attention to it, but it is cold. It is a great spot for pitching. I much prefer him over Andrew Heaney. So there's kind of the first look at our pitching options on the slate. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Turn the notification bell on. Get the alert anytime we drop videos here at TFS Army. And if you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ for 10% off monthly. So as always, best of luck, everybody.